Nigerian Network of NGOs have signed an MOU to improve collaboration and cooperation. The network says while civil society organizations have a critical role to play in building the Nigerian society, there is a need to leverage on their diversity and capacity. They also say the MOU will reduce competition and ensure civil society organizations work together in achieving the dream of a progressive Nigerian society.
It's no time for competition, but rather time for working together and time for also forming alliances on how best we can work together to achieve development for our own country. We believe that we have a critical role to play in the building of our own society, especially the Nigeria, which is our own primary constituency.
Even though we have our diversity, we now need to ensure that we use that to strengthen our sector for the purposes of ensuring that those whose issues we claim to represent or to know so much about, we can continue to advocate in that behalf. So that is why the Nigerian Network of NGOs and the conference, we're glad that this morning this MOU is being signed. And this MOU defines how we would work together on issues such as civic space, on those around local philanthropy, also on those around how we can grow our sector in ways that continues to help us to fulfill our vision and our mission as non-profit organizations across the country. Now you would understand that civil society would compete, all right? But maybe one important lesson we have learned during COVID is that collaboration is the new currency for us to be able to scale up whatever impact or whatever results that we are seeing on the ground. So what this is all about is two organizations that are very important to the growth and strengthening of civil society have said to themselves, let's find ways of working together to improve the space such that, yourselves as journalists, citizens can also continue to benefit from the democracy that we enjoy now. When there are conversations around our transparency and our accountability, we already have ingrained in what we do some of these values. However, on the point of the external accountability, which would then be the regulatory requirement or the regulatory framework that guides the work that we do, it's a very complex situation. Complex in the sense that the ease of compliance is not there. And even when the ease of compliance is there, the regulators have not succeeded in educating the sector also on how best to ensure this is we have a sector that wants to comply. We have a sector that reports to its stakeholders. And of course, this is not to say that we don't have those challenges of some individuals within the sector not doing what is right. And again, that is why this marriage today becomes very much important because when you look at the activities of both organizations, we've both been very big on ensuring that our members comply with regulatory requirements. But when your members want to comply and they get to the regulator, it becomes another different ball game where they don't even know which office to go to. When they get to that office is saying, no, you shouldn't come here, you should go there. And you know what it is. If you want to do the right thing, and the process is not smooth and easy for you to do the right, you just put it on the side. So those conversations are happening, those realities are there. The other part also is the education that needs to happen in terms of non-profits and civil society organizations that have regulatory burden to ensure that they do that and they do that effectively. Non-profits are also talking about their own self-regulation. How do we self-regulate ourselves? How do we ensure that those that are operating within the sector operate within the basic minimum standard and, of course, guided by those values that I mentioned, the trust, the transparency, and also the accountability, so that we can continue to inspire public trust in the work that we do. Our thinking is that we would also continue to speak to non-profit leaders to use their platforms to preach for peace during the 2023 elections. We would also, because we are non-partisan, but we can only encourage our beneficiaries to also ensure that they take their PVCs and that also they vote for the candidate that they want. We do hope that, the conversations and the promises that we'll see from electoral leaders will be those that would help us achieve and attain and exceed the sustainable development goals. Of course, we've got poverty in the land. We need to deal with education, health. We need to also now start thinking around how we ensure that there's meaningful connectivity, internet affordability, and also accessibility, such that we can use that to jumpstart a lot of growth and progress that we need. As the Nigerian Network of NGOs is again that we'll continue to stay neutral, but also encourage non-profits to be very vigilant, ensure that you are not used as conduit for electoral violence or money laundering and also terrorism financing. So we'll be issuing a lot of directives or guidelines around the 2023 election so that none of our members fall victim of such.
We're also going to play our own role of sensitizing and creating awareness for the citizens to participate in the process and ensure that credible leaders are also elected. We're going to continue with that, and we've been doing that, and we're going to continue. And you will see more of our faces very soon getting involved in the whole process. We also hope to expand by engaging the political parties to ensure that they comply with what is contained in the new electoral law, and at the same time also engage the electoral management body, that is INEC, on how best they can also comply with the provisions of the new electoral law.